OutRun 2 then, innit? For starters, this one. Now, first OutRun game, aka OutRun, were another biggie in arcades when I were a lad. Burnley had one for a bit, round at Mr. Pool, where there were queues. Literal queues for it first couple of weeks, at least. You can choose your own track, was the incredulous cry that went up from newcomers as they mulled over left and right, often steaming into the middle barrier. Yes, it was ironic. Or, as our American friends often like to say, ionic. Can't even say ironic, some of them. Which takes it to a whole new level, doesn't it? Any road. Here we are, OutRun 2 in it, a mere decade and a half later. On Xbox mind is this, cause all local arcades are long gone as come 2003. We've come a long way in intervening years, mind. And now there's all manner of different types of fancy automobiles to choose from. With a myriad of racing options offering countless diverse choices for yon white male to ferry round his blonde female passenger in. Nice to see the variety. Don't really feel like first to know this, and why should it, I guess, so far on? It's a belter though, and as you get a full logo of a contemporary yet not entirely ruined version of Magical Sound Shower, because what else are you going to listen to? With your missus cheekily waving at more pedestrian drivers while you're drifting round bendy bends, because you can't have a 21st century racing title without drifting round bendy bends, can we now? Especially if we can't quite get the hang of it. But yeah, winner is this, and helps put to rest one of Mr. Pool's long run rumours, which were, you want to go left, mate? It's easier. I'd always thought that to be some kind of sugar stirring fantastic fallacy, but here we are. How about that? And if all you OutRun crazy folks out there thought that's where the Folk Road finished, then you were wrong, alright. Cause this sequel to yon sequel come out and all, didn't it? But I can't recall which year it were. Again, spin round all fancy crazy in yon fancy motor cars. Though quite understandably knocking a beach ball round and mashing up the other vehicles under command from your ever more demanding passenger. Is it Buggy Boy or Burnout they're riffing on now? Is it both? Still, plenty of posh motors to go, like motoring rounding and that, and a considerable selection of tracks in which to do just that. Still, of course, only able to do that as a white fella spinning his blonde bird round, but hey, ho. I guess the power of imagination only adds to the lack of choice in that sense, eh? I guess in this climate, were they concerned that if they diversify the driver options, they might chance the overall breakneck speed freak fun being curtailed somewhat due to overzealous law enforcement? I don't bloody know, do I? But giving this another whirl a mere 14 years later, it feels amiss somehow. So if you can pretend it's the original OutRun you're playing, which is nonsensically 3.5 decades old now, it might just make a bit more sense. And as with lasting, still a good time. Just a missed opportunity by then. Ooh, Ascension. Is that how you say this? It's got to be on it. Because like, ooh, Ascension would have had well more O's in title, wouldn't it? Or does the large O in middle of ooh count double? Triple even. I've got to hold my middle-aged hands up here and say, oddly enough, I'm not overly au fait with any youthful zeitgeistian nomenclature. So if I'm missing something here, just because I unsubscribed from the Homegrown Hipster Handbook e-bulletin during the great dilettante culture cola of 2004, then I'm sorry. Alright. Feel free to insult me parentage, etc. with trendy insults I won't begin to understand. Meanwhile though, ooh, Ascension. So we kick off with a couple of moodily lit prep screens to skip quickly past so very much before we're in. Now, it'll be a cold day in Devil Town before I bother me beefed up brain with alt-like game instructions, so I'll assume this is it. And a good part of you thinks almost immediately, surely this can't be all there is. But it is kinda. Too simple almost. And there lies the rub, kids, as it is an hint. The just one more day then mantra. That saw me up till all hours, having borrowed my first Game Boy, before unconsciousness took hold, prior to having Tetris dreams to boot, is here on some level. Just look at how hard I'm making it look. Not easy is that. It's kind of like one of them metal maze type jobs that goes bzzz when you touch side with a little stick effort. The type that Roland tried to win a trip to France on before Cleaver and Banksy rigged it. Or tried to, you know. And if I'm doing it wrong here, if there's like some not so secret switch flicking business that turns it into some clever nonsense, then keep it to yourselves, because I like it this. Less pretentious title, and we're on to a nice little earner here, I reckon. So yeah, one-eyed cooked. Is it called this? One-eyed cooked. Something like that, man, isn't it? Again, blessed with the sort of pointless ego that prevents me from asking for directions or having a quick gander at instructions of any kind, both of which would be clearly indicative of admitting defeat to me. And I rather wander around aimlessly for time before quite obviously, ultimately admitting defeat, at least to myself, my aforementioned troublesome ego unwilling to learn from such simple lessons. But here we are. Now be honest now, who among us has not harboured long unfilled dreams about participating in an Eastern Bloc era barely comprehensible animation about golly gosh knows what? We've all been there, folks, haven't we? So at long last here we are. You'll soon forget about any sort of rhyme or reason once you've got busy willfully dismantling your space submarine or whatever it is, in order to build a potent symbol with which you try and bribe various colourful cosmic characters into falling out with one another, so as you can knock up an escape craft and go annoying reindeer into lending you the ladders, and so on. Now, I've got to admit, as a younger, much more foolhardy fella, I were a furtive fan of the old funny fun guy, and this kind of thing would have no doubt kept me entertained for the entire duration of a particularly rich experience. Sending me a bit now, and I've only had half a bottle of Pendle Witch. I dig it, this man. If you're a bit set in your ways about what a game is or isn't, as I can be sometimes, then it'll give you a much needed rattle. Bit of a boot up the Harris like, and hopefully loosen your perspective a bit. Give it a do, man. Maybe we a wide-eyed youngster, if you've got one handy, but one who has been raised properly to appreciate the finer things in one's young life, such as Bagpuss and Simon in the Land of Chalk Drawings. Lovely time to be had here if you turn blinkers off for a bit.